assessment of how your habits can create project delays, right? And one of the things that creates project delays is changing your mind on requirements. That's why I like the 2-week rule. Do not change your mind for 2 weeks, right? Keep current with what you're doing for 2 weeks and finish that, okay? Then at the end of 2 weeks, and then if you haven't come up with a new idea, you put it in what's called a backlog. Okay, that's the backlog that we can get to that later. We're going to do that after we finish this for 2 weeks. Like, one of my things is I'm going to be putting in these gas fireplaces in the training center. And I'm doing it as a secondary heat source because I was talking to putting in heat pumps. Heat pumps is a big thing where we're building this. And I'm a little concerned that in the winter that we may need a secondary heat source.
Right.
But I'm not working on the gas fireplaces I got to finish this 2 weeks. I can't even think about the gas fireplaces until we're finished this phase. And, they're not actually, we don't need them. We're not going to need them till January. So why would I waste my time working on that? So daily alignment, right? Daily alignment with you as the leader, not changing your mind.
That's great.
That is one of the biggest things that creates problems.
Yeah. And so you said it takes you about 15 minutes to prepare your daily meeting information. How much time do you think that saves you, though, over the course of a 2-week sprint?
Well, it saves me a ton of time with working with the contractors during the day because they're not constantly asking me, what do I need them to do next?
Yes.
They're able to take more autonomy with their work. So it saves me a lot of time. It frees me up to work on other projects.
That's great. That's a good point.
Right?
I know Eric spends a lot of time on the phone answering just random questions from the contractor, and it's stuff he needs to be able to move forward. But if we could take that 15, 20 minutes in the morning, and then he has his whole day to not have his phone blowing up from different people calling, that's a great tip.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is make sure that everybody agrees on communication. Okay. Because there's nothing more frustrating when you're trying to get in touch with one of the main people and they don't answer their phone.
Yeah.
Right. It slows everything down. And so my rule, and I've had this rule, we're cheetahs, we respond fast, is anytime somebody gets in touch with anybody associated with my business, they get recalled back within 15 minutes. Because that communication is extremely timely. And so I just let a contractor go about a month ago who was not responding. And everybody, he wasn't responding to me, wasn't responding to any of his workers. And so everybody would get hung up. And this guy was also reassigning people to all different types of projects. So nobody ever knew where they were supposed to be. They were so frustrated. I'm like, I can't work like this.
Yeah.
You're not. So I'm going to go find somebody else that's more effective. And I'm so sorry, I like you and everything, but I can't work like this. So, the ending the project ending that 2-week phase is so important. Now, I am big on celebrating, right?
I don't think people do it enough. I know we don't. You just move on to the next part.
I've had this plumber working on my finished plumbing, and we got our temp CO last week, right? My finished guy, my plumber, I made them lobsters and steamers. They were so excited, right? We finished, right? We finished them, and we've got the temp CO. We're starting our next thing. This week is painting the trim and getting the trim finished and getting ready for everything to be moving in here. So we celebrated. Do you know how many people want to work on my project because she makes you lobsters and steamers? We celebrated, and that is ending right is so important. Put a bow on it. Yay! Look what we did, guys. This is so amazing. It's showing appreciation. Is really important. Obviously, you've got to pay them, right? I'm really big into paying people, but you just let them know, like, I value your time and appreciate that you worked on my project. Thank you so much.
That's great.
And so ending right is so important. So those are the 3 things: is starting right, working right, and ending right. And it's all about how are you dealing with these people. They're people, they're human beings, It's funny. I think that contractors and guys that work on real estate, they're very emotional. And I don't want to throw them under the bus, but they're not that emotionally intelligent, right? And so, a lot of times if you've done any type of introspective work, you can have what's called equanimity. You don't get rattled by things, but they get rattled by things, and they take their work. They have a lot of pride in their work.
They do, very much
right.
So.
And so you have to be very careful with how you're giving feedback and advice and make sure that you're pointing out what they've done well and what you want a little bit different. Because I think there's nothing more demoralizing to somebody trying to do the best job when the person comes in and just starts yelling at them for, whatever they did. And they just, put their heart and soul into something that they did. You can't be like that.
Right. It's interesting because I feel like as a real estate investor, the bar is so low for treating them well. Like doing something small, like showing up to a meeting with donuts would mean a lot to them. And it took, running by Dunkin' Donuts, which you were probably going to do anyways, and grab a coffee. And, it's just such a low cost way to get your reputation, like you talked about, and to build some goodwill with the team. So they are willing to hit your deadline on time. They might work a little longer to hit that 2-week timeline because they know you're going to take care of them and they want you to succeed.
Yeah, they want to work for you. I had this guy that worked for me for 25 years and he helped manage most of my projects because he liked working with me. I mean, he could have gone and done any number of other jobs, but he liked working with me. Yeah. And, sometimes when you have those long-term relationships, when things are rough, they'll ride the wave with you because you compensate them when things are going well.
Absolutely.
Right. And, you can't just look at wringing out every last penny in every single situation.
Absolutely.
And,